Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gino of Gino's Romantic Home, and today I'm going to be sharing with you several dollar store and craft store DIY Christmas decor crafts that'll make your house look boutique gorgeous on a teeny tiny budget. This is part 567 of my huge I Love Christmas series. I am just so over the moon to show you how you can make your homes look boutique gorgeous on a teeny tiny budget. And today's theme is going to be all about Louis Vuitton, so I am wearing my LV monogram scarf, which is perfect for this season. And stay tuned, because later in the video, I'm going to be giving away to one of my lucky subscribers this Murakami LV jute bag. See, you don't have to spend so much to look the part. And even though this is a dupe, it still has all of the hallmarks of an LV bag. Just ignore that the color is just bleeding a little bit, and that the canvas print doesn't like align up on the sides very well. It still has the vachetta kind of handles, and the hardware, it still has the LV monogram there, but just ignore the fact that it's tarnishing. And who am I kidding? No dupes allowed on this channel. So anyway, plug in those glue guns.
Plug in those glue guns.
Get out your glitter and paint.
Get out your glitter and paint.
And let's get to crafty.
Crafty. Crafty. Crafty.
So for this first Christmas DIY, I'm going to make a bag tag ornament inspired by my own bag charm. Now, when you buy something from Louis Vuitton, along with the box and the ribbon, you sometimes get these gift tags that on the inside contains a blank envelope, and in it you can write anything that you want. You can write a personalized message. Today I'm just going to keep it blank, and what I'm doing now is getting some of the Louis Vuitton ribbon, and I'm just eyeballing it here, just measuring a small piece that will act as the bag loop. All I'm going to do is just hot glue it straight onto the back. Put a dab of hot glue on the back there, and then press it to the back of your bag tag, and you repeat the same for the other side. It's literally that simple. You can use this for any decor craft. If you collect tags from your other favorite luxury brands, you could definitely do this as well. And the end result really does look like a miniature bag charm. It's just so adorable. And this is what it looks like. This is just an option to display it. You can hang it off any of your floral picks or on your tree, anywhere that you like, or you could use it when you're wrapping gifts. You could use this as the gift card. You can do anything you like from this. For this next Christmas DIY, I'm going to make some wooden ornaments. So here I have a pack of 4. I got these from my local Spotlight, but you can pick any wooden ornament you like or whatever you have on hand. So I bought a total of 12 ornaments because I have a sticker sheet of 12 stickers here. And what I'm doing now is just mixing a blue and black poster paint to match the deep navy of the sticker sheet that I have here. So what I plan to do is paint each wooden ornament with the base color of this navy, and then once it's dry, I'm going to stick one sticker onto each ornament. You can apply this craft to any theme that you like. So here I'm just going to liberally put some paint on both sides of this ornament. Depending on the quality of paint, you will definitely need to do at least 2 coats here. So do plan ahead. This ornament will take a bit of time to do. Just get into all the nooks and crannies there and the edges as well. When it's dry, what I decided to do was just thread it with a metal rod so I can just prop it up so it can dry on both sides. Now I did a bit of a time skip here, and I'm just going to paint my second layer. Trust me, this will make your ornament look much better and just remove all of that bare spots that might have come through. And there's Henry just joining me for this craft. You will spot him from time to time in the background because he just loves Christmas and wants to just see what I'm up to. I painted my second coat of paint, and what I am doing now is freehanding some holly onto the back of some spare LV envelope cardboard. Definitely have a small collection of these cardstock and never really wanted to throw them out because I was always thinking that I would use them for a craft, and so here I am finally putting them to good use. For each wooden ornament you will need 2 holly leaves, so I'm just going to cut them out, and after you've drawn your first one you can definitely use it as a template to draw your other ones. And again, you can do this in between your coats of paint because it will take some time for your ornaments to dry. So now all of my wooden ornaments are fully dry, and so what I'm going to do now is get some gold paint. So what I'm going to do now is paint along the edge of the ornament. I'm not being precise here. You could definitely just dip it in the paint and just roll it around to get the coverage, but I thought I have a lot of gold paint on hand, I might as well use it as much as I can. So here I'm just painting the edges of this wooden ornament just to give it some definition, and it will definitely stand out when you hang it up afterwards. Once it's dry, I got a thinner brush and I started painting dots, some gold dots all over one side of each ornament. What I was trying to do was make a nice starry night design, and the trick is that you don't just paint the dots evenly spaced out. You do want to make some small clusters of dots to make it a bit more realistic, and you just freehand this. You don't have to think about it too much. You just paint to your heart's content. You don't have to stick to this motif. You can do any kind of paint job that you like. Once it's dry, I'm going to do a second layer of white dots. You can use white paint for this, but I have on hand a liquid correction pen, so I decided to just use that to create the smaller white finer dots. What I'm doing is just painting directly on top of my gold dots. Again, just making some small clusters, and that's what it looks like. I think it just looks absolutely gorgeous. And here we go with another time skip. I did paint a lot of these ornaments already. So here I've just brought out one of the sheets from the sticker sheet, and what you are going to do next is just peel one of them and stick them on the reverse side of the ornament, so the side that you didn't paint. And once you've stuck them on, you are going to continue painting some dots. So I'm going to start with the gold paint, smaller surface area that you have to deal with, so you can just paint a lot fewer, and this step should go a lot faster. So once you paint the gold ones, you can paint the white ones. Here I'm going in again with the white correction pen. I'm just filling in any of the empty spaces left. This side should dry a lot faster than the other side, and there you go. I just think it came out absolutely gorgeous. Now what I am doing is cutting some Louis Vuitton ribbon to act as the ribbon for the hanging of the ornaments. Ignore the metal glass on the edge there. I thought I was going to use that to help assist with tying the ribbon, but I just found it easier to freehand tie this. So I'm cutting about 20 centimeters here, but in hindsight I think I should have made it closer to 30 just to make the knotting easier. But with that said, if you want to hang your ornaments closer to the branch, then you will prefer to stick to a 20 centimeter ribbon. So what I'm doing now is just tying a knot to create a loop, and then I'm threading that loop through the hole of the ornament. That hole is a bit small, so it did take a bit of effort to get that ribbon through, but once it's in, it's definitely not going to slide back out. So now I'm going to take 2 of the holly leaves that I had cut out before, and I'm just going to hot glue the one end of each of them to the top of the ornament, so close to the ribbon. I am a bit of a hoarder. I did collect some beads over the years, so this is just my collection. I would have liked to have used these blue beads, but I didn't have enough of them, so I'm just going to opt for these purple ones. You'd be surprised that purple does still work well with this ornament. So what I'm doing now is just hot gluing 3 beads to the center of the hollies. And there you go, that's what the finished ornament looks like. I think that just looks absolutely gorgeous, and when you have them, a whole series of them hanging together, I just think it looks really beautiful. You can hang it off your floral picks or off your tree or even your wreath, or you could even use them as gift tags as well. Definitely a very fun craft that you can get your family involved. It's not as difficult as it seems. Once you've made one, then you'll definitely get the hang of it. For this next Christmas decor craft, I'm going to make a floral centerpiece using a Louis Vuitton box. Now what I'm going to do now is just put some styrofoam in there. These are just some offcuts. You don't have to cut up a perfectly good piece of styrofoam for this. You just use whatever scraps you have. So this is from last year's craft, I think. And what I'm doing now is just getting some floral picks. I decided to opt for a plain pine, so it doesn't have any snow or glitter or flowers, nothing like that. I just wanted to keep it very simple, and this means that I can reuse these floral picks for future crafts. It doesn't even have to be a Christmas theme. Now before you start using these floral picks, just check that each of the branches are on tight. If some are falling out, then definitely take this chance to hot glue them back onto the branch. What you're going to do is just lay your floral picks into the box, and so the floral end is poking outwards, and you might need to trim some of them down so you can get them to fit neatly in the box. You don't want it so full that the lid is just wide open. You want just enough of the floral picks to be poking out, or you could go all out and just create a full-on floral piece. That is up to you, but I just wanted to create the illusion of just some pine being stored away in a box. So you're just going to embed your floral picks into the styrofoam, and you're just going to fill it up with some of the branches that you cut off. So that's what it looks like when it's closed. I think it's already looking really good. Now what I'm going to do now is actually hang some of the ornaments that I made in the previous crafts. So here I'm hanging the bag tags and also the wooden ornaments. And from here you can decorate it however you like. You could definitely go a lot more ambitious than what I'm doing here, but we are keeping to a Louis Vuitton theme specifically. And you can see the reverse side of this ornament. It still works very well, and there's the finished product. I just think it looks really gorgeous. But of course you don't have to use a box. You can use one of their carry bags instead. Still the same steps. You put some styrofoam in the bottom. Now due to the camera angle, you won't be able to see the floral picks sticking up out of the bag, but you'll see the finished product shortly. So I'm just going to get another bundle of floral picks, and these ones I don't have to cut. They are just tall enough to poke out of the bag. You can just put your ornaments on top as before. So this is what the final product looks like. Definitely very festive, and you could definitely add some plain baubles on there, or you could paint your floral picks any color you want. The sky is the limit. This especially works for if you have limited space and you don't have space for a dedicated tree. You could definitely use this craft idea as a substitute for a tree. For this next Christmas decor craft, I'm going to make my very own Vivian. Now, don't be fooled. This is actually a lot simpler than you think. However, I did opt to use a more premium material, so I am using leather now, but we'll get to that shortly. So what I have here is this pre-made wooden doll that I got from Spotlight. I think it was about like $7. I don't recall, but it's definitely perfect for this craft. So what I did in advance of this was I traced out some clover mane, I guess you could say, and the arms and also the eyes and ears of the Vivian. So what I am showing you now is the two types of leather I'll be using, both a very thick leather and a very thin one. For the thicker leather, we will be using that to cut out our clover and arms. I am tracing this on the raw side, so the underside of the leather, because the top side is the smooth one, but I think the reverse side where it's a lot more rough and has texture, it looks much better. So that's I will treat that as the outward facing side. So what I'm doing now is just tracing the clover onto the leather. Now you don't have to use leather for this, you can use cardboard, or you could probably experiment with modeling clay. That could be a fun alternative, but I did dabble in leather craft a few years ago, so I have a stock of unused leather, so I might as well put it to good use. These patterns I tried to make them to scale of the original Vivian, so the proportions might not be quite the same, but we're just working with what we have. Now the next step is to quickly soak your leather piece in some water, and what I have here is a tool with a razor blade on one end, and what I'm doing is just tracing out the pattern that I had drawn. Now depending on the thickness of the leather, you might not need to do this step. You might be able to just cut straight into the leather using your fabric scissors, but this is a quite thick leather, so I'm just going to indent it to make the hand cutting step a bit easier. Now definitely work on a cutting board. You don't want to be damaging your good table for this. So once that's done, I'm going in with my fabric scissors and I'm just cutting the patterns out now. So this is one of those tools that you definitely should invest in if you do a lot of crafting. You would really want some durable fabric scissors. Now cutting straight lines is pretty straightforward, but when you start cutting into corners, you will need to use a razor blade just to get into those corners. But definitely take your time with this. You are working with more expensive material after all. You definitely don't want to waste your leather piece, so just take your time. As for cutting the hole out of it, this step is a bit more difficult. The trick is to just use the blade to cut a slit big enough to fit your scissors through, and then you can get in and there and just cut the hole out. Now this is a burnishing tool. What this is used for is to smooth out and round off the cut edges of your leather pieces. So that's what I'm doing here, just rubbing it against the leather, and you're going to do this for all of the cut pieces here. And then here is a much thinner piece of leather. What I'm doing here is going to cut out the flower for the eye. There's only one flower eye for the Vivian and 2 ears. This one's a lot easier to cut through. You just need to trace your patterns off there and then get your fabric scissors and just cut it out. Now this next step, you're just going to paint your leather pieces with any color that you want. I could have used the same color paint that I did for my earlier crafts, but when I was in the craft store, I had discovered this glittery blue paint, which is a few shades lighter than the navy that I was working with, but I think this will work very well. And this paint is good specifically for leather painting, so if you're going to use leather, then definitely invest in paint that is suitable for leather. And you're just going to paint both sides, and I'm using a metal rod just to prop it up so both sides can dry. I wouldn't recommend using a blow dryer on this because the leather is still a bit wet and malleable here, and if you use a blow dryer, you might inadvertently cook your leather. We don't want that. One fun thing about leather is that for these thick pieces, once you've started working on them, you can definitely bend them into a shape or a curve that you like and just let it air dry, and then once it's dry, it will take on that shape. But for this instance, I just want everything to dry flat. Here I have some pre-prepared pieces that I had painted already, so they're fully dry, and what I'm going to do now is hot glue a metal washer to the end of this arm so it acts as the hand. So you're just going to put a washer on both of the arms and just press it firmly to adhere it on, and then while that is drying, I'm going to position the clover against the head of the wooden doll, and you're going to liberally put hot glue around the back side, around the whole perimeter. Just ensure that you keep the clover flush against the wooden doll. Now while that is drying, I'm going to flip it to the front side now and glue on the ears. You could paint the ears if you want, but traditionally the ears are the plain raw color. While that's drying, I'm going to glue the arms on. So you can glue them such that the arms are facing down, or you can position them so they're reaching outwards, or one is reaching forward and the other's backwards to give the illusion that your Vivian is walking or carrying something. You can definitely play around with these if you make a lot of them. You just have a couple of more steps to go. So here is the flower for the eye, and you will glue that to one side of the Vivian. It's looking really good. And the final step, I have a stash of rivets and buttons. What I'm going to do is just find 2 small rivets and glue them directly on for the eyes. You don't have to use metal rivets. You can definitely use beads or anything else that you have on hand, but for me I had metal rivets, so this worked perfectly for my purposes. And this is the final product. I think they just came out really well. Once you've got the hang of this, you could definitely experiment with colors and patterns. You could even dye your wooden dolls so it's a much darker tone, or paint them any funky colors that you like. But for this craft, I decided to keep it simple just to show that it's not as hard as you think to recreate your Vivian doll. You don't have to spend $3,000 to have your very own. You could just definitely DIY this. For this last Christmas decor craft, what I'm going to make is a hot air balloon. Now, don't let that description fool you. It is a lot easier than you think. All that you will need is just some ribbon and a styrofoam ball, which I have here, and a paper mache box, or any small box that you have on hand. Now, this sphere, this is readily available at your craft stores. I got this from my local Spotlight, and this is just the right size. So what I am doing now is drawing lines across the sphere to divide this into 8 panels. Now I'm painting each alternate panel with the navy paint that I have been using for my other crafts. I'm going to go in with my first layer of paint. You will definitely need 2 layers at least for adequate coverage, and it's going to start looking like a beach ball, but trust the process. This decoration was inspired by this image, and in the spirit of Louis Vuitton travel and exploration, I thought that I would have to make a hot air balloon as another centerpiece for this Christmas craft. So here's a time skip. I've painted 4 of the sides with the navy, and while that is drying, I'm using gold paint to paint the box now. Here I'm only painting 1 layer of gold paint because I didn't want it to be like a vivid gold, so I just kept it a bit muted. Now here I am painting the remaining panels of the ball with the gold paint. Now this is where you'd want to invest in maybe higher quality paint. The one that I got was only like $2 for that giant bottle, but it was drying slightly transparent. It wasn't giving great coverage. I do have an idea to finish off this decoration. So what I have here is a stencil which I got as part of this coloring book, which I got for my birthday one year. As part of that stencil, there's some patterns there, in particular the flower motif, and I'm going to use that to trace out some appliques that I'm going to stick onto my hot air balloon. Now I've got some of the LV envelope cards stock that I'm going to draw on the flowers. Now you can draw and cut out as many or as little as you want, or literally you can draw anything that you like. Once I've cut out 1 or 2 shapes, I don't need the stencil anymore. I will just trace off from the cut pieces that I already have. So this is definitely something that you will be doing in between drying times. So the styrofoam ball has already its first coat of paint, so it will need some time to dry. If you don't want to cut out appliques, you can use pre-cut shapes or stickers or anything that you like. Now what I have here is some gold cardboard. This wasn't really planned, but when I saw it in the store, I just thought, oh, for $1 I might as well just buy this. And I'm glad I did, because what I'm doing now is cutting out a larger flower shape. Take your time cutting these out. Or I know that some people own this Cricut cutter, where if you're more tech savvy, you could draw these patterns on the computer and then have your Cricut machine cut them out for you. Now this is another time skip, and once I've cut out some of my appliques, I'm going to get this acrylic rod, but you could use a wooden rod or any other rod you have on hand. I've cut it down to about 50 centimeters, and this is the finished painted ball. As you can see, the navy color came out really well, but the gold not so much, but that's okay. We're going to cover up those patchy spots with the applique. Now what I am going to do is get this screwdriver and poke a hole through one end of the ball, not directly in the center, but just off center. The basket will be hanging towards the bottom, and I want that to be centered, so that's why the rod has to be a bit off center to accommodate that. You don't have to hot glue your rod in there. I found that this is already a tight, snug fit, so it won't be going anywhere. Now here is the box that I painted before, and I'm just eyeballing it to see where I like it hanging. So what I'm going to do is get some pearl head pins, and what I'm doing here is just pinning one end of the ribbon directly onto the ball, and the other end I'm going to cut and then hot glue it onto the edge of the box there. Now the benefit of using pearl head pins instead of just hot gluing it is that you can adjust the height as you go. If it's looking a bit wonky, you can adjust the height freely. And so I think it was about 30 centimeters that I had determined for this. I don't quite remember. Once you've chosen your measurement, you're just going to go around the ball and do a total of 4 ribbons. You're going to pin 4 ribbon lengths onto your ball. So I'm just pinning it halfway up. And using pins, I think, is just a bit more sturdier than using straight up hot glue for this. So once that's done, you're going to get some hot glue onto one edge of the box and attach the other end of the ribbon. Just press it down into that corner there. And you're going to do that for all 4 sides. And that's all 4 sides now attached. Check it regularly to make sure that the basket is level with the balloon. What I'm doing here is using more ribbon. Yes, I have a lot of spare ribbon lying around. What I'm doing here is just draping some of that ribbon along the sides of the box there, just hot gluing it on. Now once I've done that, I'm going to go back in and hot glue some of these teardropped pearl beads. These are going to be the sandbags that typically hang off the baskets of a hot air balloon. And here is my stack of appliques. Yes, I did have a lot of time on my hands. So what I'm doing now is just adding a bit of hot glue to the back and then gluing it directly onto the basket. Now I'm being strategic here. I'm gluing them around the ribbon so that the ribbon stays down and it's not sticking outwards as much. Now what I am doing here is going back in with some more ribbon and draping it along the equator, if you want to be fancy, of the balloon, hitting it with the pearl head pins. Another benefit of using these pins is that you can reuse this ribbon once you're done. Now I'm going in and gluing the star appliques directly onto the ball, and I'm just placing them in and around the ribbon so the ribbon stays down, and also across the entire surface of the balloon. I'm going for a really magical feel here, and also to cover up some of those patchy paintwork. If you're a more careful crafter than me, you could definitely paint the borders between each of the colored panels there, or paint your own decoration, whatever you like. I decided to go with applique to give it a more 3-dimensional effect, and also You can't really replicate the shine of gold using paint alone. That's why I opted for this gold foil colored cardboard. Put as many or as little applique as you want. So take your time with this, there's no rush. And now this is the finished product. I think it came out really well. Now, surprisingly, this is not a heavy ornament. It is sitting upright in the bag from my earlier craft with the styrofoam base. So it is very lightly balancing up there. And I just think this is the perfect centerpiece to finish off this craft. But if your resulting hot air balloon is a bit too heavy, then you could definitely put the rod in a vase and fill it with some stones or some sand. But for this craft, it's light enough that it can just stay upright. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope that I've inspired you to make your own Christmas decor crafts on a teeny tiny budget. Of course, today was all about Louis Vuitton, but you can apply anything that I've discussed today to your own Christmas decor crafts. And just before we go, I just want to share something from the Bible because I have been reading the scriptures lately, but during Christmas time, I think it is just especially important. So today's scripture passage is from Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19. A feast is made for laughter, wine makes life merry, and money is the answer for everything. Never a truer word spoken. So anyway, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.